Everybody, welcome back to Platypus is the name, and welcome to another Persona 5 The Phantom X video. Today, we are talking lower rarity characters I really think you should not be skipping. I have used most of these characters in some form of content here, so it is, I think I have a pretty good idea of here what's good. And so, it might seem a little weird here. You'll understand when I get into the options. Let's just jump right into it. No ifs, ands, or buts. What are characters I think you should be focusing on in the early game? Number one is Motoha, Closer. This is a character everyone gets relatively early. She's obviously in all the story, and I feel like a lot of people do polls, and especially when they're re-rolling, they get like their 5 stars, and then they drop her right away. I want to say this character is maybe the best character in the game for the first palace. Everything in there is weak to lightning, man. I mean, like, everything. So this is a character you really want to focus on early. Now, I'll admit, I don't think personally I'm going to prioritize her taking her past level 40, maybe level 50 in the early game. I think I will come back to her a little bit later because I do think that she kind of falls off a little bit. But I'm telling you, you're going to have a way easier time for the first palace up and through to the second palace if you just have this character around. There's really no other lightning character in the game. I mean, Ryuji has a lightning attack, and the protagonist can have lightning stuff, but really, if you need to break a bunch of shields with lightning, she tends to be the best. Her kit is also just very synergistic with itself, obviously. She's pretty self-sufficient, so you don't need to build a team around her, right? She deals electric damage, 15% chance to shock, always, flat, no matter what kind of electric attack she's doing. And when dealing damage to shock foes, she increases her attack by 30%. That's pretty good. And it's pretty easy to get a copy or two of her. And her first 2 awakenings just give her a lot more damage, right? When dealing repeated hits on the same foe, decrease damage by 15%. That sucks, but you get an extra hit out of it. So you're now able to hit more enemies with your AoE, or still single target hit an enemy with that. Decrease damage from shock foes by 20%. So if a foe's shocked and they're hitting you, you're gonna get hit for less. Really what's good here is all of her skills are kind of equally as useful and good depending on how you want it. Blitzmine is the one that you're probably not going to use that much until you have more electrical party members, because it gives your party's electric damage up, but it's kind of awkward for her to use this on herself only. So you're probably going to be using things like Wrathful Thunder, right? Just can hit 1 target 4 times or hit 4 targets 1 time, inflicting shock on the main target. Same target's getting hit multiple times will lower the damage, but it's still good. Then this is more of like your dealing damage. Once they're shocked, you'll get your increased attack, and you'll also, this basically does 100% damage to all shock targets. And you're getting that 30% attack increase. And honestly, her highlight is just really good too. Inflict shock on the main target, 120% damage, and it increases the amount of damage to take from shock. And then as you get more characters in the game and you need like a lightning team, maybe you already have one of the Ryuji protagonists in her, that's when Blitzmine is going to become really good. So this is more of a later ability, I think, because now you could buff your whole party while dealing damage, breaking a shield, and then you'll also, at a higher level, right, you'll increase electric damage taken by the main target of a skill by 7% roughly for 2 turns, stacks up to 2 times. So now when you're using like Blitzmine, yes, you could use this to get everyone's attack up. You could use something like this to break a bunch of shields. And while you're doing that, you're also increasing the amount of damage they take. Her ultimate makes them take more lightning damage. It's just like a very, very strong synergistic ability. And she is so good in the early game. I'm telling you, she is jacked in the early game. But I'll admit, she kind of falls off. Now, this one is kind of a weird one to mention because I think it's almost the inverse of Closer here. I think the later in the game you get, the more powerful this guy is going to become. I don't even remember his code name. Erytheia. We're gonna call him Erytheia. This guy is maybe the best damage buffer in the game. However, in the very early game, he is a little clunky, I won't admit. However, where I think that this guy is actually insane in the early game is if you pull Joker. If you pull Joker, this is a character you absolutely must level up, I think, as well. I mean, the team is basically Joker, this guy, and if you get the other 5-star Yuki or whatever her name is, right? Yao Ling. That's basically a whole team right there. And his whole thing is he just gives an insane amount of attack to a character. So just baseline, right? He can give power of friendship stacks. The power of friendship stacks are actually kind of bad, but they're not terrible. So you can get 2 stacks on a character, and they give 6% attack of his attack up to 120, so you can get up to 240 attack at level, you know, before level 50, right? 240 attack. That's a lot. It's not that much though. You have to have a lot of attack to actually make that happen, but it is some attack. But where this really starts working is that this all flows into each other very well. First thing to note here is if anyone falls below 75% life, they get a power of friendship stack, so they're just getting passive damage increase when their HP falls. And then you have Justice Barrier here. You reduce an ally's HP by 30%, and then you give them a shield for basically 80% of the HP sent, plus 24% of your attacks, plus 302. So this shield could actually be quite a bit more than the ally's HP that you took. So this could be a pseudo healing, especially if they're lower on life. The lower the life they are, the better this is, because yes, most of the shield is only 80%, but the flat amounts will become a higher proportion. So if they're at like 100 life, yeah, you're gonna only get 30 shield from this, but you're also gonna get a lot more from the other stats. So the lower their HP is, the better of a heal it is. But even if they're at full HP, what's really important here is that this reduces their HP by 30%, and it gives them a power of friendship stack. But because their HP lowers, they also get a power of friendship stack. This attack will instantly give someone 2 power of friendship stacks, putting them at the maximum level, which is great, while also being a pseudo heal ability, which is fantastic. Now, the other ability here, Ultima Booster, is kind of nuts. First, you increase an ally's attack by 14.4% for 2 turns. Then, and this is only level 3, right? It's going to get quite a bit higher. Then for each stack of power of friendship the target has, increase their attack by 20% of his attack up to 1100, right? So it's basically going to give them 14% of their attack. Then it's going to give them 40% of his attack because you just put 2 power of friendship stacks on him. So now they're going to have 240 whatever bonus attack for the double power of friendship. They're also going to have they're also going to get the 14.4% damage boost here. They're also going to get the 40% damage boost bonus here. You could even then use this if you really want. You can do this instead of the Justice Barrier. You give them 2 stacks of the power of friendship. Then if their HP is below 60%, you heal them, so it is actually a heal. But then you also increase their attack by 15% of his attack for 2 turns. So if you don't want to use the Justice Barrier and you have this up instead, you heal them, you give them 2 stacks of power of friendship, you increase their attack by 15%. You activate this because this is like an instant speed skill. You give them 14% more attack, you give them 40% more of his attack. And this is all just on him, giving a different character an insane amount of attack. It's actually ridiculous. And then you could even make like his support abilities here are pretty good. You can even get extra crit damage when they have 2 power friendship stacks. And if he's not actually buffing all this stuff, he is a little clunky. You're not really using him as a damage dealer, but this atomic smash, I was going to call it slash, is actually pretty good. Deals 1 damage to 1 foe equal to 140% of attack. That flat out, 140% of attack is pretty good. For each stack of power of friendship the party has, increase the damage by 10%. So theoretically, right, you could have 2, 4, 6, like 8 power of friendship stacks getting 80% more damage. So this is doing a lot of damage, all right? But you're not using it that much. You're mostly going to be increasing your attack and other people's attacks to increase. If you increase your attack, it's mostly to increase other people's attacks more. Like if you look at some of his dupes here, like it's like, oh, when you use a skill on an ally, your own attack increases by 25%, and that's good, but that's mostly because your attack means higher attack for other people as well. And then again, so he's kind of like a little bit of a healer, like a bad healer, but it has that capability, mostly an attack buffer, a little bit of a damage dealer, a very interesting character. And it's one that I think if you have like, I've gone on and on this guy, but if you have like Joker or you have a really, really hard carry, this guy will push them to the next level. But he also could be clunky if you're trying to use him as a damage dealer, a little bit of a buffer, a little bit of a healer. He has those capabilities, but you really want him to be focused on making your main damage dealer absolutely sick. So do not forget about him. I think that in the early game, he's useful, but this is mostly a character I don't want you to forget about because in the late game, in the mid game, I think he's going to absolutely explode in value. Finally, yeah, we're talking about another story character here. Shun here, or Soy Boy as I like to call him, is actually unironically my favorite character in the game right now. Like, yes, he's cool. His persona is cool as hell, and he's like a cool cowboy guy. His name is Soy Boy. That's funny. I like all that. But honestly, his persona is just like my favorite in terms of its kit. Baseline, what does he do? Increase the chance of being targeted by attacks. Boom, you got a tank right here. There are ways to prevent damage. This is like the only character in the game that will actually deter people from attacking other things into instead attacking him. So that is a very cool ability. When he gets attacks, he gets Desperado. Baseline, Desperado doesn't do anything other than at the end of your turn, you're going to heal 30% of your HP, which is a lot of HP to heal. So he's kind of a self-sustaining healer, right? There's a lot of these that I can get into. Level 6 is kind of crazy because you're doing a bunch of damage. But basically, if you get 1 or 2 copies, you're getting less, decreased damage taken. And when your HP is below 50%, you get more healing. So the 30% will actually be more than 30%. Not a lot more. I mean, 25% is not that much more, but it is relevant. So baseline, he just sits there and he is more likely to be targeted. But is that even good? Yes. He has a lot of HP and you want to build more HP on him, but I'm going to go in his abilities in a different order here. Icy Defense is one of my favorite skills in the game. Increases party's maximum HP by 15% of his own max HP up to, 9,000. We all know this changes at some, as this goes up. But point is, you're getting a lot of extra HP. So this is a way to ensure characters are just harder to kill. It scales all of his own stuff as well. So getting a bunch of HP is just good in general. There are characters that have attacks that scale with HP. It just makes you harder to get one shot. It's like having a bunch of extra shields, but it's not permanent, but it's there for a while. It also restores party's HP by 14% of his max HP. This actually it doesn't look like a heal because they're getting max HP 15% and you're healing them by 14%. So it looks like you're losing HP, but like you're obviously not. You're getting quite a bit more HP back at the end of it. Sometimes it'll look like it's a huge heal. Sometimes it'll look like it's not a huge heal. I think it just kind of depends on what your HP is at. But this is good. This is a way to tank up. This is a way to heal, and it greatly increases the chance of being targeted for 2 turns. And this is, in fact, the skill is so good, you can't even use it every turn. I would use the skill probably every turn if I could, because it would make him unkillable. But it is still good every time it's up. It's a great skill. It makes him really, the whole team tankier. If you're having trouble getting one shot because, enemies are just getting up and hitting you really hard, this is a really good skill to keep you alive. But that's not all he has. One, he has the Icicle Hatch. This attack just does more than you think it's going to. This attack is on par currently. I know it won't scale this way into the late game, but this is slightly more early game focused. This attack outscales my Joker's damage very frequently. Obviously, if Joker has the full thing where he does the target, he gets an extra turn, does a target, he crits all of them, he's gonna do more damage. But just turn to turn, if Joker's not getting double turn, this can actually out damage my Joker. This is single target, I'll admit. But deal ice damage to one foe equal to 45.6% of his max HP with a good chance to freeze. Again, freeze decreases their attack, so this is another defensive thing. It's always kind of nice when your defensive characters do freeze. But 45% of your attack, of your HP, that's just a lot, right? This is like 2,000 damage right now, just how it is. I don't know exactly how that works with defense. I assume it's still decreased by defense, but the reason I'm bringing up defense is because of smash hit right here. Physical damage to one foe equal to 46% of your max HP. Then you decrease the defense by 25% for 2 turns. And when you have Desperado, the effect is increased by 50%. This is a crazy defense debuff, maybe the biggest single defense debuff in the game. If you take a look here where it gets to at level 12, it's going to do with 31%, and it can get up to 15, I think, right? If you have the extra, all the awakenings maybe. But it's going to be at 31% defense decrease plus 60% of that. So it's going to be plus 17, maybe something like that, defense. So it's going to be at almost 50% defense decrease just from a simple skill that's also dealing pretty darn heavy damage. I love it. And his tactic skill is great. Increase the party's max HP by another 10% of his max HP up to a certain amount. and you restore their HP by 8.2% of his max HP, and you get to deal damage to one foe equal to 61% of his max HP. I mean, it's like having a second icy defense and Icicle Hatchet in one ability, right? It does basically Icicle Hatchet does, but better because it does more damage. It does pretty much, it's a weaker version of Icy Defense, but it's kind of like an instant speed thing, and it stacks, which is very good. So this is all freaking insane. He's tanky. He does a surprisingly large amount of damage. He's got relevant debuff, a semi-relevant debuff, a great buff for the party. And he's actually got this really sick ability here. Increase ammo for range attacks by 18. He fires 6 shots at a time, so it's really plus 3 shots, even though it says like a million. When attacking foes with range attacks, you have a 10% chance, 10% chance actually, don't forget that, to deal bonus damage equal to 9% of his maximum HP. So you just have a chance to just hit for a crazy amount of damage. 10% of your HP is a lot. And you decrease their defense by 35%. So you could basically go through, if you're fighting a bunch of guys and don't want to smash hit one thing, you could pull out your gun, shoot them all, lower all their defenses by 35% while hitting them for a reasonable amount. And then if you hit the same guy multiple times, the damage falls off, so he doesn't just one-shot everything, because he would absolutely blow up everything if it never fell off, I think. And then finally, he does get the for your benefit. I don't think this is insane. It's another 10% chance, so that's like double that, I think, to activate Desperado. So he always gets Desperado when he gets attacked, but this means if he has Icy Defense active, when you get attacked and you have Desperado, it'll heal you right away, so you don't need to wait till the end of your turn, I guess. This is not as insane, honestly, but this all just, like, every time I have this character in my party, the game feels so much easier. Yes, he's not like I'm bringing him to deal an insane amount of damage to everybody, but he does great single target damage, great support abilities, and he honestly has some pretty relevant debuffs as well. And honestly, he's fucking cool, and his gun is awesome. So those are the 3 I'm recommending that you guys focus on, or that you at least don't ignore, right? There's not that many characters in the game. But obviously, and all characters have their niche, but these are the 3 that I thought, for me, they really stood out, especially as I've been using them in the early game. And that's all I have to say today. Guys, thank you very much for watching. For Platypus is for Platypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops.
Bye! Watch the views go up. Content king, never down, always showing up, hitting milestones.